Hey, so to all the smart people in my network and group of friends, I want to know what is the best investment strategy for a Gen X, Gen Y, millennial these days. I want to share what I'm currently doing and then get your thoughts and suggestions on what I should be doing differently. Here goes.
So I think it's important to start by setting the scene. So I'm looking for a simple strategy that works. So this is not my full-time job. So I'm looking for something that's going to be safe, that's going to be easy, that's going to be simple. So when I say safe, I know investment has risk. And what I don't want is something that's not above board. So a Ponzi scheme or anything that promises quick money. I need something that's simple, that I can handle digitally from my computer, that I can check up on any minute of the day, and that it's easy to get my investments in and out of. And then, just to set the scene, I'm not a 100 million rand millionaire that can go and buy an entire property in New York City because it's a good investment or whatever. I'm dealing in little bits and pieces here and there. It's anywhere between kind of a strategy that would suit or work for anyone who has anywhere from 100,000 rand to kind of 10 million rand. So that's kind of the space we're looking in. My investment strategy 10 years ago was fairly simple. I call it the Mercedes-Benz principle. Divide your investments into three: cash, property, and shares, and you make each one a third. Every few years you adjust. So if property has done really well for you, it'll obviously be worth more than that 1/3 that it was a few years back. So then you actually get out of some of that. So while it's on a boom or a high level, you move out some of it and rebalance so that you're going back into cash and shares when it's a good time to be buying the cash or the shares. So it was very simple, and at the time it was entirely local. It was entirely based in South Africa. I now have a very different approach. I want worldwide diversification. I want to spread my risk globally. I also think the opportunities that are global, and it's now very easy to be able to do this, to be able to have stocks or property in the US, Australia, Asia has become much more simple. And the reason this is because the technology has now arrived. It is possible from your phone or your computer to be investing globally without complicated offshore structures in a way that works. So one of the key questions is, well, who do I get to help me? Who do I get to manage this for me? And I think this is at the heart of my investment strategy, and that's I believe that there's no longer a need for active investment managers like there used to be maybe 10 years ago. And I think a great example for me of this is Warren Buffett's bet that he took with the active fund managers, where he said that if he took a bet that over 10 years, he thinks by betting just on the market through exchange-traded funds on shares, you'd be able to outcompete any fund that was actively managed, where you had someone investing, reading, researching, switching here and there. He said that if you just bet on the market and trusted that the market would do well over 10 years, you'd be able to outperform the manager. And the real reason for this is that even if the funds perform the same, or even if the managed fund performs better, because they take up to 60% of those profits in fees, you will end up getting less money than if you just bet on the system. So that really has had an impact on me. It impacts my way of thinking. I'm not wanting that my money and 60% of the profits I make go in towards management fees when I can get better returns by betting on the technology and the system as a whole. So what does that mean for my new strategy? Well, I still believe in the Mercedes principle. I still believe in 1/3 cash, 1/3 shares, 1/3 property. But my strategy is now different in that, firstly, I believe in global, and secondly, I believe in using technology and the systems we have to help me manage it simply. So in terms of the shares, I fully subscribe to what Warren Buffett said: bet on the markets with ETFs, diversify into regions I trust. So go and actually find out where the predictions are that in the long run there will be good growth in those economies, and bet on those markets rather than individual shares through ETFs. And I want a system that's quick, clear, transparent, and at my fingertips. There are a lot of great share ETF trading platforms. So I bank with Standard Bank. They certainly have one. You can use easy equities if you're in South Africa. You can go directly onto SatTrex if you're in South Africa. But whichever ones you use, the principle is there. In terms of property, this is the space I think where I get the most excited, because in the past you'd have to buy a whole house or a whole commercial building to be able to invest. But now that is no longer true. through technology and the emergence of fintech platforms, you can buy a little bit of this and a little bit of that and still be investing directly in a property. And this is the difference for me. I'm not investing in an exchange, in a real estate investment trust. That I'm investing, I can choose the actual property, but only need to buy a little bit of it. So I can invest in different regions. I can use the technology so it's transparent. I can see my investments at any time. And the one I'm using is Wealth Migrate. So it has different properties, commercial properties that have gone through huge degrees of due diligence on them. And I can then say, hey, I'd like to put $5,000 into this one, $10,000 into that. Once they have investors that can buy the entire property together, they register that property on a stock exchange, each individual property on a stock exchange, so that's in a very secure, safe, regulated environment. And then they exit it after 4 to 5 years. So that excites me because it means I can now have $10,000 here or there spread around commercial properties around the world in a way that's safe, and I'm getting the same returns as if I bought the entire thing myself. So that's really exciting for me that this has changed in the property space. And then lastly, in terms of the cash, with any bank, most banks these days, you can hold different currencies in different accounts so that you can spread your risk into the currencies that you think are good. And you no longer need these complex offshore structures. So that's really my current strategy. I'm really looking forward to getting your insight and advice. Please be robust. I can handle it. If you think I'm making mistakes, that's exactly why I'm doing this process. I need to hear from you. I'll probably be sending this to you directly if I think you're really smart and have made a lot of success yourself. And I'm looking forward to giving you advice.